So I have a problem with the Emoji Movie. So the Emoji Movie just came out over the weekend, and it is currently sitting at an 8% on Rotten Tomatoes. And frankly, it kind of deserves to be there, because from what I have read about this movie, its summary, its content, it is basically about as devoid and uncreative as people have been expecting this whole time. Now, honestly, I kind of remember the massive collective sigh that struck the Emoji Movie when it first came out. I don't know how well it has done this weekend. I'm recording this at midnight because I can't sleep, and that is when all of my strange thoughts come out. But I honestly hope it doesn't do too well. It had only a $50 million budget, so it's probably going to make its money back. I just hope it's not like some kind of colossal success or anything like that, because the thing is, the Emoji Movie is very clearly modeled after the Lego Movie, and the Lego Movie is the movie that sort of brought legitimacy to the world of merchandise-driven media. It was, people famously were angered at the fact that it didn't have an Oscar snub, and I'm sure Sony Pictures took one look at the Lego Movie's success, not actually at the Lego Movie itself, and said, hey, you know what, if the Lego Movie, if people are outraged over the fact that the Lego Movie did not get an Oscar nomination, imagine what would happen if we made like an Emoji Movie, you know, something else popular and colorful and things like that, and that's probably where the Emoji Movie came from. However, the thing about the Lego Movie is it is something called good. It not only does a lot of things right, for example, it has the hook of playing around with the Chosen One narrative. It has a really poignant final scene with just the line, "You don't have to be the bad guy." It was phenomenal and sentimental, and it actually did not shill its own product terribly much. Like, most of the movie that doesn't take place in the sort of generic Lego City takes place in the Wild West, something that has not gotten a new set since the 90s, and a place called Cloud Cuckoo Land, which is just a random hodgepodge of stuff. I mean, yeah, they made sets based on the movie, but that's kind of expected. Otherwise, it's not like they were, like, bouncing into all of, like, their newer and more popular brands or things like that. In fact, I think the only real reference to one of their newer brands was a cameo made by Lloyd. Other than that, it was just basically their DC licenses when the movie makers realized, hey, you know what? Our distributor and Lego both have the rights to Batman, so let's use Batman, and they did, and it was awesome. The Emoji Movie, to my understanding, is ridiculously commercial and basically undoes everything that the Lego Movie accomplished. It is set in this emoji-based city where a meh emoji named Gene discovers that he's more than just a meh emoji, so he goes and finds the obviously based on wild style emoji named Jailbreak to fix himself and turn himself into a regular meh emoji, because this other emoji called Smiley, the first emoji, is chasing after him and wants to kill him, and then the only way to do that is by getting to the Dropbox, by running through Candy Crush and Just Dance and writing on the Twitter icon. It's, based on what I've heard, I haven't actually seen it. I'm not going to pay money to see this, maybe when it comes out on Netflix, but from what I've heard, it is a pretty uncreative mess. Apparently there's like this plot twist where it turns out Jailbreak is secretly a princess emoji, and she hates it because as a girl she only gets typecast into being a princess, which is all fine, but here's the thing. Smiley, the first emoji who I mentioned before. Smiley is the one who is not only the first emoji, but is the one in charge of everything of how the Emojiverse works. Smiley is a woman in this movie. So the idea that an emoji is coded male unless it's drawn up to be a princess or something like that doesn't fly in the face of its own universe. I mean, it's a statement on our reality, yes, but in the own universe, not to mention Gene's mom is also a meh emoji, a female meh emoji. So this whole statement that girl emojis can only be princesses doesn't really make a lot of sense in its own universe. It does not withstand the scrutiny of its own movie. Now, if, say, Smiley was a male character and Jean's mom was a nurse and Smiley was like, oh, a princess emoji, they need to go back over to page 10 where they belong. If there had been something like that, who knows, there might have been, but I think it would have been much more poignant if Smiley was a male emoji and it had been that sort of maintaining status quo thing that they were going for. Maybe that would have worked, but the way it was presented there, it doesn't really. And there's this overarching plot where, like, they live in the cell phone of this teenage boy who's trying to ask this girl out, and the fact that Jean doesn't send us the right kind of emoji, like, upsets everything, and there's that weird narrative there, but by the end, you know, like Jean and his new friends, the high five emoji and Jailbreak, like, make, like, the perfect, like, chain of emojis or something to win her over, I guess, but it's really bland. It makes a statement, and that statement is that you don't have to actually be creative. You don't have to actually aspire to be more than just a commercial. You can just put a commercial out in a theater and people will pay to go see it. It is so devoid of creativity, devoid of sincerity, devoid of, you know, any kind of intellectual stimulation. Things that the Lego Movie basically pointed a finger of blame at. Shame. A finger of shame at those very kinds of concepts. I'm sorry, Stitch, I love you. Is here's the thing. Could the Emoji Movie have been good? Absolutely. Like I imagine, like, the Emoji Movie, like, if there was this thing, like, where everybody has to stay nice and fun and conformed, because if there was any sign of a bug, there would be, like, this overarching threat of, like, bricking and the universe falling apart, and the fact that Jean is acting kind of weird and has emotions beyond just meh is seen as, like, an indicator of a bug that might risk bricking the system. So he goes to Jailbreak to try to get himself repaired, but we have, like, Smiley's, like, chasing after him, like Captain Ahab chasing Moby Dick, to the point where Smiley starts doing things that are incredibly self-destructive to try to catch him. And imagine, you know, if, like, Jean and Jailbreak, like, failed and, like, the phone did brick, and we watch as everybody, like, disintegrates into nothingness, and we have, like Jailbreak reaches out and is like, Jean! And Jean is like, Jailbreak, and they reach out for each other as their hands are, like, absorbed into this pixelated darkness. If the phone bricked and everybody died in this movie, you know, and the kid's phone, like, goes out and is like, and oh no, and he's like no, trying to get it to work again, and, like, we have, like, this somber, poignant moment where, like, all the kids are freaking out because everybody just died, and all the tweens are going, oh no, man, that's, like, my worst nightmare, my phone dying. And like there's this poignant moment, and he realizes that this kid actually realizes that he has to go and talk to this girl, actually go and talk to her. They have some small talk, they have this sincere moment, and they finally, like, kind of arrange to get together because they actually talked face to face, and they had, like, this daring piece of challenging sincerity, because the whole point of the movie, like, the start of the movie is like, words don't work anymore, but maybe they do. And they had, like, this challenging and sincere moment. Like, the Lego Movie had a fantastic sincere moment. That whole you don't have to be the bad guy moment that I mentioned before. It is a fantastic moment. And the Emoji Movie could have had that. And, you know, after that emotional movie, the kid, like, goes, he takes his phone to get fixed at the shop, and the guy fixes it, and, like, boop, everything's back. Everything's colorful and normal again, but everybody's standing there, like looking around. It's like, are we alive? And, you know, everything gets resolved. Smiley gets punished for all of the crazy stuff that they do, and, you know, we have this fun, happy outro, and they have the happy ending for the kids. That could have worked. That could have worked really, really well. It could have had all the good sentimentality, but actually, you know, offer something challenging. Like, they could have had this fun thing at the end where it turns out that Gene's personality quirks are actually part of him, and it wasn't a bug because the phone got reset back to factory specs. You know, it could have been this kind of wonderful thing, but from what I can tell, based on the reviews and the storylines and what I've heard, the movie barely tries. And where it tries, like in the case of Jailbreak being a princess emoji, it fails because of its own logic. The problem I have with the Emoji Movie is that it basically undoes the Lego Movie in what merchandise-driven entertainment can be. And wanted to become after the Lego Movie, because the Lego Movie was surprisingly sentimental and good, and the Emoji Movie is the complete opposite. I guess that's really all I have to say on the matter. We'll have to see what his weekend box office is, but guys, don't go and see the Emoji Movie. Don't give it money. Don't tell Sony that this is Sony or the industry, that this kind of obvious and grotesque just advertising commercialism is going to make money and be rewarded. Encourage them to have a little more effort. Sony has kind of been single-handedly doing the most damage to the world of entertainment and merchandise-driven entertainment in general over these past few years, and they really need to be sent a message to quit it already. And Emoji Movie should have been the final straw. It really needs to be the final straw. If not that, then they're making a movie about Jesus. A really, really bad-looking movie about Jesus, where they make Mary, like, you know, all hot and attractive, and they have, like, funny talking camels, including Oprah Winfrey, and it's like, trust me on this one, guys, I think you should probably read the book instead of watching the movie. So, that's why I have a problem with the Emoji Movie. See you next time, everybody. This is Kodak signing off. Say goodbye, Stitch.